Recording in progress. Is this where we dance?
This is where we dance. The disco ball comes out.
What's your favorite song right now?
My goodness. Well, that's such a great question.
See how I switched this so I'm now doing the interview?
I know.
Can I play you? Actually, let's have a little dance. Let's have a little dance session before we start.
What is your favorite song right now?
I'm going to play it for you. It's so good. It makes me dance. And you know what I used to do, Kev, is before I would go on air, I had it so the audio people knew I'd love to dance because that's how I decompressed before doing such serious news.
Of course.
And I would dance in front of the camera. They must have a lot of bloopers of me dancing.
You're answering so many of my questions already.
Okay, here we go.
I love it.
Okay, see if you can name this song.
I can't hear it.
I got to put it up to my earbud.
I still can't hear it.
No, now?
Can't hear it. But it looks great.
It's called Sally When the Wine Runs Out.
Oh my goodness, yes.
By Role Model.
Love it. I have a great video of you dancing in Trafalgar Square.
So, I do love to dance. I love to sing. Those are the things that kind of after work,
I spotted
bring
you.
everything back.
I spotted you from the stage and I was like, I need to film her because you were living your best life.
That's right. That's right. You were down there and I was by myself. I went to London. I didn't know anybody. I was just going to that event and you and I and Nancy bumped into each other.
Loved it.
Come on. How does that happen? 3 Nova Scotians bump into each other in Trafalgar Square. It sounds like a knock-knock joke.
It does. I mean, what were the chances that we were also just at the top of the staircase in Canada House that night? We would have never spoken.
Ever. And you're just this shining light. So I see Nancy and I recognize Nancy because as a journalist, I just looked up to her. I watched her on news all the time. And I'm like, who is that beaming light beside her too? And it's like I felt like I knew you. And of course, what does Hannah do? She walks up and it's like, hi, I'm Hannah.
I'm so glad you did. It just blew my mind, especially when you said, I'm from Nova Scotia. And I thought, you look familiar, but I don't think I know you. And you wouldn't know where I'm from because it's a sleepy little town. And we're like just a few miles away from each other.
We're just a few miles away from each other. And we went to, would you say rival high schools?
Yeah.
Nova Scotia rivals is like, hey, let's, play soccer and see who wins. Now do you want to go out and have a drink?
Exactly. So true. It's so true. It's just sparked a great friendship.
It really did. I'm really lucky. I just knew there was a connection there right away. And then what did we do? We hung out the whole time while I was there. And I was just in awe of you and Nancy running around the whole event and doing such a great job. You had the whole crowd going. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And now we chit chat.
It's so true. I look forward. You have to come over to London when there's nothing happening. And I'll give
Hang
you
in the pool.
Kevjet's London experience.
I want to see the dogs floating on the pool.
Oh my gosh,
floaties.
yes. They love it.
Yeah. I did introduce you to my dog too. I don't know where she went.
Adorable.
She's around here somewhere. Yeah, very similar to yours.
Definitely. I just want to first of all say welcome Hannah Thibedeau to Kevjet the podcast. Hannah is the Executive Communications Officer for Global Public Affairs.
Thank you so much. It is truly an honor to join you and speak with all of your followers. It's so much fun. Thanks for having me, Kevin.
It's season 5, so it's only taken 5 seasons to find Hannah and get her on the show.
We found each other, though, and now we may drive you crazy.
Definitely. As we were saying earlier, we grew up really near each other. Well, pretty much in the same community, to be honest. And we just found each other now in Canada House in Trafalgar Square.
Yeah, I'm from Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. It's a small town of 10,000. And what's the population of your town?
1,600?
Yeah.
Probably.
But
yeah.
we're all kind of included when you say.
It's true. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from a small town, Yarmouth, and I am so proud of being from Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. And I think you are too, proud of being from your community. And I know when I'm out there, everybody says, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Well, I live in Ottawa, but I'm from Yarmouth, Nova Scotia." I never say I'm from Ottawa, even though I've lived here now longer than I lived in Yarmouth, but it holds your heart. There's no way you're from anywhere else. And I always make that crystal clear. And I've always been proud of it. And when I was a journalist, well, I'm still a journalist, it's always in my heart. But when I was an anchor, when I was on TV, if there was ever an opportunity to give a shout out to our town, I was doing it.
I do the same. I love it. And this week I've been followed by Nancy Regan and her TV crew and kind of following like the history of Kevjet here in Wedgeport. And I thought it's not really a great story, but I sort of rediscovered all of these things about myself and I feel like I belong. I always felt like coming into the community, like, okay, a bit anxious. You want to just kind of like fit in. You don't want to stand out too much. And this time I was coming in with a film crew, so I was going to stand out. And I just thought, you know what? I deserve this. And
Yes,
I'm going to tell the story of our sleepy little village. And it's not so sleepy.
it's not. But you know what? I know exactly how you feel, Kev, because I go to all these events now with CEOs across this country. And these are people who are making some of the biggest decisions in Canada. And I'm floored. I say this, but I have to pretend that I'm not floored. But I am floored to be in those rooms and that they want to talk to me. And I think we have to get over that as well. But it's just this bit of imposter syndrome.
It is.
Um, yeah. And I think everybody has it, and I think it's okay to have it. But I have to always remind myself, and my husband does a very good job doing this too, is that you worked really hard, you have some important things to say, and especially being from these communities, you bring a voice that maybe isn't always in the room. So,
I totally get that. And it's totally true. I feel like that's probably my secret weapon to the podcast,
yeah, absolutely.
being based in London.
It's so cool. Like, I think you're the coolest guy ever.
What drew you to journalism, especially growing up in Yarmouth? And
Oh, you want the truth?
yeah,
Okay. So I'm going to give you the truth because I have failed a lot in my life, a lot. And through all of those failures, it led me to that. So I graduated high school. I didn't have the best marks. I was probably one of the most social people out there. I played a lot of sports. I didn't focus on my studies, but I just kind of squeaked my way into Dalhousie University. Well, then I get to Dalhousie University and Hannah Thibedeau has been set free. Hannah Thibedeau did not do so well in her marks. And here's the honest to God truth, and I'm still embarrassed about it, but I flunked out my first year. I did. And I lived in Hebron, and I can remember this as clear as day. I walked down back with my dad. His name was Herb, and I always called him I call my parents by their first names. So I walked down back with Herb, and Herb looks at me and he says, "Hannah, here's your options here. You didn't do well. You got to figure out if you want to get back in there. And if you do, there's lots of things we can help you do. You can take some summer school, you can write to your professors, but you have to work hard and really want it because you can't see this again. I paid for university. So, and then he said, here's your other option. I worked at Zellers in Yarmouth for 10 years, I think it was, from 15 till I was 25. I would always come home and work part-time to
with
help.
my great aunt.
Yes, yes. And I worked with a lot of women in that store. Those women were such my mother Deb worked at Zellers too. They were such hard workers. And I learned so much about business from these women who worked in this store and the men too, but it was mostly women, and from my mother and how to be a good worker and to be responsible. He said, you know what, Hannah, you could also go into management at Zellers. He goes, if that's what you want. But that's what your options are right at this point in time. And I thought, I really want to try something else. And I liked living away from home. So I had to work my butt off to get back in. So I took a summer course that helped. I had contacted all my professors. I got myself back into university. So it did take me 4 years and I didn't have any money, that's for sure. But I got through. And then in my final year, I got A's at
Wow.
university. Yeah. Yeah.
And was politics always something that you were really interested in?
It was because, again, Herb was always involved in local politics and he helped out former prime ministers when they would come to town. We still have a Brian Mulroney poster in the basement, but he was nonpartisan too, which is interesting because he always chose, and same with my mother, what was best for the community, what was best for the country at that time. And that's kind of where I think I picked up that, I'm not a partisan. I just want what's best. So that's where the politics got involved. And then of course, I was vice president of student council and then I became president of student council in high school, which was a lot of fun. So I always had an itch for it. So I took poli-sci at university and then I got out of university and I thought, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Nothing was saying, Hannah, here, you got to do this. So I started looking around and I said, why not give journalism a try? And I found Algonquin College. Nobody in Ottawa. Nobody.
And
so
that was prime
location.
That's prime location into politics.
Yes. Yeah. It was a prime location. And I read about the school and it just seemed like a good fit for me because I'm a very practical learner. I'm not a studier. So I went there and loved it. And in fact, I'm getting a very big honor by Algonquin on November 11th of this year. They're giving me the Alumni of the Year award.
Wow.
Nobody knows that yet.
Wow.
But I'm just floored that they would do this for me and want to recognize that I'm the alumni that went to Algonquin College. And here I am now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. They haven't put the press release out, but.
Amazing. You've covered some of Canada's biggest political moments. Is there one that stands out most to you?
Let me tell you one that stands out because it's so fresh in my mind too. And I covered politics for nearly 25 years, as far back as Prime Minister Jean Chrétien. So I went through all of those prime ministers. But it was last year when it was the fall fiscal update was supposed to be released. And Chrystia Freeland, the finance minister at the time, was supposed to deliver that fall fiscal update. But then we hear she's not. And she drops the bomb. And Vashti Capellas, who's one of my great friends, who is the host of CTV Power Play, and she called me and she said, can you jump on set with me right now? I'm like, absolutely. So her and I and analysts kept following through. That was the day that Justin Trudeau's leadership was done. I have never seen someone lose their leadership because someone put out a tweet.
Wild.
Our jaws were on the floor. And even now, like you think about it, what changed since that moment? At that point in time, the Conservatives were leading in the polls under Pierre Poilievre with a 35 percentage point lead. And then what are we, months later they hold an election campaign. The Liberals were able to turn a 35-point deficit around. Like, come on, who gets to tell those stories? So that's the most frequent one. But one of the ones from the Jean Chrétien days is after 9/11. 9/11 was one of those days that you'll never forget. I was sitting in the office, you see the Twin Towers come down, and then it's just go, go, go for days. That was another one. And then he was going into Afghanistan. And I was on that trip. I went into Afghanistan on a Hercules with the prime minister and his team. And, I had to tell my parents afterwards, we were being shot at when we left. What happens? I can giggle about it now. And it was kind of a ride. You have all the security services around you. Literally, a Hercules can go like this.
Right.
It's a big plane. We're sitting in the jump seats in the back. And all of a sudden, they're going like, get on the plane now. strapped in. They get the prime minister on. He's sitting in the front. They take off and the jet goes like this, and you see jets on either side of us. And it's like, ooh, what's going on? Well, they were shooting towards the base. So we had to get the prime minister out of there. I'm like, oh, what a ride. Oh, what a ride.
Hopefully, you would appreciate that.
There's that. Yeah. I mean, you just think that you're in, well, literally the line of fire at times. And you're telling the stories, you're telling history as it's happening, and you're there. And it's like, what a privilege I've had to do that. Another one I'll never forget was the day of the shooting on Parliament Hill. And that was 2006, I think. And I was one of the first people on the ground, even before Captain Cirillo had been removed. And, some of my friends were on Parliament Hill. The shooter was on Parliament Hill. We're broadcasting live, and I landed on the scene and I saw him on the ground, and it was just heart-wrenching. You saw the Canadians who came and jumped in and tried to save his life, and they were trying to save his life. I'm off to the side, far away because you don't want to get in the way of that, but broadcasting live. And this guy comes up to me. He goes, the shooter, he's right there. He's getting in the car. He's driving to Parliament Hill. And it's a very close distance from that. And you're kind of like, it's starting to sink in. Mm-hmm. Is there only one shooter? The police start screaming at you saying there's another shooter. You're trying to continue to broadcast live. All the cell phones are starting to get blocked. I had this young man come over to me. He goes, you can borrow my cell phone. So we were trying to broadcast while doing all this. And it was such a horrific day that someone would do that in our nation's capital. It's just one thing that I can visualize it right now, and his family. And that was another story that you just remember being there, and you remember the immediacy of it. And yeah.
Is there
How about a happy story?
Yeah. Is there a story that you're most proud of?
Okay, and I'm glad you asked that because that was going to be my next one. The stories that I'm really the most proud of, there's multiple, but this all kind of comes under one umbrella. I was fortunate to be the reporter every year on the ground for Remembrance Day. And even thinking of them, all the veterans that I spoke with and telling their stories and sharing their stories, I was so lucky to do that. And that's all they wanted. They wanted to be heard. They wanted to share that. And they were so funny. Like every year, I would always have these funny stories with the vets. They would be inviting me to the lunch. They'd be flirting on the set. They'd be flirting with Peter Mansbridge. It was just such a lovely moment to be able to have those veterans trust me with their stories. So I would say those are the ones that I was the most proud of. And again, I was really honored to get the King Charles Award for that from the defense minister, the previous defense minister, Bill Blair, for telling those stories. So it was recognized, and I didn't expect it to be recognized. I was just really fortunate that every year I had that assignment.
I'm a firm believer in you get from the world what you give to the world. And you just mentioned Remembrance Day, and November 11th, you're going to receive this award, another award.
Yeah, it's like receiving the Alumni of the Year award from Algonquin College is something that my heart is full. I can't believe that they want to give me that honor. But I am proud to be a representative of that school. I am proud of what they taught me. The teachers there are the ones that really inspired me to continue into getting in front of the camera. Originally, I was behind the camera, but I had a teacher who worked at CJOH. That's the local CTV station here at the time. Her name was Lee Chappell, and Rick Seabrook, who was the director. And this was the Friday class we had. We had to do news broadcasts every Friday. And each Friday you had a different role. But when I saw Lee, it's like, I want to be in front of the camera. I really want to be able to share stories with people and get those stories out there, because everybody deserves to have their stories heard, if it's a smaller audience or a bigger audience. So if I could help do that, that was a thrill for me. But I started behind the scenes first, Kev,
Right.
in sports. In sports.
Wow. Well, you were very sporty.
I like playing sports.
Yeah. And you still do. I see photos of you on the golf course all the time.
I love playing golf, and I'm a smidge competitive, if you want to ask my husband. It's like, we have fun. It's one of those sports that it's almost like yoga a little bit. You have to be in your head, in the game. I love golf. So that's one of my pastimes. I play tennis, but I just started probably a couple of years ago. It's a hard game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still love the sports, but you know what? I never was a broadcaster for the sports, but I worked behind the scenes, wrapping cables, studio directing for ESPN2.
Wow.
Yeah, hockey and football.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it?
How has journalism changed through social media?
Oh, it's changed immensely. For social media, it really, I would have to say it takes away a bit from journalism, because a lot of people believe that what they're seeing out there in these tweets, in Facebook, is actual news. Well, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. So you have to, I'm not saying don't do it. I think it's fabulous that we have all of these different outlets where we can put different stories. However, if you're looking for someone who's bringing you the issues of the day, I think you need to find that trusted partner still. And for a while, even just before I left, you saw that too many people were just getting their information from TikTok, from all these social media platforms. Make sure if you're doing that you also get it from multiple other places. And that's the thing that I've always said. I don't poo-poo it. I think it's great we have all these outlets, but don't, because they become echo chambers, right?
Yeah.
What happens with the algorithms is that it shows you what you believe, and then they'll advertise to you and those types of things. So just make sure you have other places that you can gather your information. Go to trusted news sites. And I really feel that the pendulum is starting to swing back, that people are going, oh, there's so much information out there. I need to find someone that I trust to bring me the actual facts. So I would suggest still doing that. There's such a huge place for MSM, as we call it, out there for the mainstream media. And I think it's going to come back again, because there was this frustration that there was too much analysis, too much opinion. And I agree with that. Let's deliver the facts and let's let the people decide what they believe. I'm not saying let people lie, because we know there's a lot of fibbers out there.
You do hear most people in the general public, they say, well, I saw on TikTok, or I heard on TikTok. You get the TikTok thing a lot.
Absolutely. But don't just get all your news from TikTok. That would be my suggestion. But trust me, I use all those social media outlets to put stories out. They have their place. They have their use. But find people who do deliver, even if it's someone, this is the biggest thing. I don't just watch or listen to news of places that, I always trust. I will go to other places. And okay, I'm just going to give an example, because Fox News to me isn't a place that I would typically get all my information, but I like to hear what other people who watch that show, who are presented on that show, are feeling, because I really believe that the first Donald Trump administration was elected because we weren't listening to people who were feeling disenfranchised, honestly. And it's like, everybody's like, oh, he's never going to win. He's never going to win. Well, surprise, he did. And he did again. Why is that? And we have to ask those questions and be okay to ask those questions. And we have to understand why this happened.
Sure.
Whether you like Donald Trump or not. I think both sides have to understand. I hope that the other side says, well, why are they saying that about him? But I think we're coming back to that. I think we got to move away from the polarization and then come and figure out, why are they there? Why are they there? Let's have a discussion. We can disagree, but let's not be angry with each other. Let's not hate each other. Let's be able to disagree. I disagree with a lot of people. But hey, do you want to go have a glass of wine after? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. And then you just change the subject and and you enjoy the evening.
Exactly. Let's disagree nicely.
Of course. How do you gain trust from your listeners or viewers?
I think trust is something that comes with time. Reputation is built over time. It takes a long time to build that trust and reputation, and it can be a fraction of a second that it can be taken away and broken. So you always have to make sure you're accurate. If you're not accurate, admit it. Just
Yeah,
admit it. It's like, I made a mistake. Like I said at the very beginning, you see how my thing keeps going in and out?
it
I
does.
don't know how to turn that off. I'm not cool enough, everybody. But sorry, now I forgot where I was because I'm getting distracted with this. But
Being
yeah,
accurate.
being accurate is the biggest thing. And if you're going to delve into, I try not to go into opinion too much, especially when I'm broadcasting. I have lots of opinions,
Of
trust me.
course.
But I try to go in with analysis rather than opinion. So it's like, I'm going to say this, and here's the reasons why I'm going to say this and back it up. So it's building that trust with people. You can see the dog in the background too.
Yeah.
It's building that trust over time. But like I said, reputations can be taken away in a second. So you have to maintain that trust with your viewers. And if I've made a lot of mistakes, I admit it. Just be honest about those mistakes.
What would your advice be to somebody who says they want to become a reporter?
I would say go do it. Please, please, please go do it. There's lots of space for good journalists out there. It's a tough job, though. You really have to be ready to take a lot of criticism, especially if you're, a woman covering politics. And hopefully that will change over time, but it's like you have to be used to people calling you names and all of those types of things. But
Do you feel that that's gotten better?
no, it's gotten worse. It's gotten worse. I mean, look at what happened to Rory McIlroy at the golf game. How people actually out in the public were attacking him and his wife verbally. I found that a very big switch from people who are sitting, I call them keyboard warriors, sitting
Yeah.
behind the keyboard, feeling they can call you names. It's like, hey, I'm happy if you want to disagree with me or disagree with something I've broadcast to have that conversation. But don't just call me names and threaten me. I've been threatened. And then when I saw that, when that happened to him and his wife, that has gone to a different phase where it's really concerning to me that people feel they can now throw things at people, say horrific, untrue things. If you don't like his golf, for example, then fine. He's even fine with that. But don't make it personal. For
No.
gosh sakes.
And if it happens on the golf course, yeah, imagine where else it can happen.
Yeah, one of the things I have been asked to run politically a couple of times from two different parties, by the way. So I say I'm pretty proud that people don't know how I vote in elections. And I would consider myself a nonpartisan person. And I got asked twice to run. And both times I said no. Well, I'm not a partisan, for one thing. And that was one of the big reasons. But the second reason was if I was getting attacked that much as a media personality, it was going to grow so much more. And I'm really sad about that. I know there are stronger people out there than me, and I'm constantly trying to encourage more women to get into politics, but I was kind of done with it. Life that was a little bit less of being attacked and more of helping people share their stories.
Yeah. Walk us through a day in the life of Hannah Thibedeau today.
Now?
Yeah.
My goodness. Day in a life. Well, I'll kind of give you an example of the week. I travel almost every week. Last week, I was in Banff at the Global Business Forum where all these top business leaders, the American ambassador are all talking. And that's one thing. And then I fly to Quebec City on the weekend to go to, this one's a really long title, the Great Lakes St. Lawrence governors and premiers. And I was supposed to interview both our Canadian ambassador in Washington and our American ambassador to Canada, but they bailed. So they have their reasons. Of course, we saw that the prime minister was in Washington and both ambassadors had to be there. So they have their reasons for that. But I still attend because there are a lot of governors I wanted to listen to, in particular Democratic governors who potentially could run to replace the former Democratic leader. And then every day I've created a podcast for one of our clients, which I'm very proud of. And we're going into season 2 on that one. So we do daily meetings, we do once a week meetings on that, how we're progressing on it. I'll voice those. We'll put that together. I talk to CEOs, train them on how to present in front of a crowd. I have one coming up soon where I'll be asking him questions like you're doing with me. So we prepare him to present himself best so Canadians understand what his business is. And it's really just helping tell stories now in a different way. But then I get to do fun things like this. I'm still moderating panels. I have a couple coming up with some really big guests. It's really quite fun. It's a diverse job now. I know my mother says to me, Kev, this is interesting. And she's like, so my mother works at the liquor store in Yarmouth, and everybody probably knows who she is. She's a pretty popular lady.
I looked for her the other day. She wasn't there.
I'm really proud of her. She loves her job. Like, she's going like crazy. She'll kill me for probably telling people this. But she says she was so proud when I hosted my show on CBC News Network. She's like, yeah, I would always tell people, they come in, I saw your daughter on TV. She's like, what do you do now? How do I explain that? It's like media executive, helping people tell their stories. You know, I guess before I was in front of the camera telling stories. Now I'm helping CEOs and businesses and companies tell their stories in all kinds of different ways, whether getting it on the mass media, whether doing it through podcasts, whether doing it through social media, and helping them do that and helping them perform better as well. So I'll do media training with them. We call it media training, but it's a lot of fun. You see them go from one camera trial to the second camera trial, and it's like, I did my job. They're so much better.
I love that.
Yeah, no, it's really fun. It's really fun.
I love that. Have you ever had a moment where an interview went completely off script, and how did you handle it? I think it happens quite often, doesn't it?
It does. But that's your job, and you know this very well too. It's like, you're kind of like, you have all these horses in front of you and you have the reins. It's like, you want them to go the right direction. All of a sudden, one of those horses goes, I'm going this way. So how do you bring it back in? I can't think of one that was really, really bad, but you know, they go off on their own tangents and it's all about just guiding them back into the discussion that you want to have. But here's the thing I train everybody to do. Although the host has their mind set and what they want to project, you have the story to tell. So you have to figure out how to tell that story, even if the host is asking you one question. Don't make it obvious. It's called bridging. It's called moving it over to how you want to talk. So it's funny how what I was doing before and trying to get my information that I wanted, now I'm training people to get their information and sort of, you know, maneuver around that host or reporter or whatever.
It's so true. And I find that quite often. I can be prepared with my research. I know where I'm going with the story, but then 9 times out of 10, the research goes out the window by the time we have 10 minutes into the conversation because it goes a different route. And 9 times out of 10, that's a great story as well.
So have we done that so far? Have we?
No, we're like, I'm like glancing at notes, but I'm not following anything because those are the most boring conversations, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Seamus O'Regan.
Yes.
And Pete Buttigieg, who could potentially become a Democratic candidate. He interviewed him just a couple of weeks ago on the stage, and I went up to Seamus after. I said, were you nervous? And he goes, man, I was so nervous. And I'm like, I still get nervous too, every single time. Like, honestly, viewers watching Kevjet right now, I still get nervous.
Really?
And it's because, yes.
Because you never come across, like I would never ever say that I've ever seen you nervous.
It's all in the preparation. It's all in the preparation. I prepared for you in different ways that I prepare for other things. And that's what Seamus said to me too. And it was nice hearing that from him as well. So, and to everybody out there, yes, we all get nervous. And like I said at the beginning, one of the things I would do before going 4 hours on the air, 5 days a week, might I add, is I would go upstairs. And as long as like we didn't have some breaking news right ahead, because sometimes you have to talk to the producer, the director, you have a million people in your head. But I would always try, it's like, just give me a little bit of music. And I'd
Yeah,
dance a little bit and I'd breathe. So it was just sort of this fun moment in my head before I got into so many things that were typically very tough stories to tell.
sure, sure.
But I love the days where, for example, the Blue Jays were doing good. I had Joey Bats on. Not kidding. Remember the bat flip, Kev?
Yes, yes.
So every time the Jays were doing good, Joey Bats would come on the show. It would be
That's
like,
amazing.
and it was my favorite interview. And he has, I think, sorry if I'm wrong on the number, but he has 3 little girls. So he is completely outnumbered in his house. And see, that's the story I didn't know about him. I thought we were all going to talk about baseball, but went off to, you know, these 3 little girls ruling his life.
Of course.
So I got this really fun story out of him because you let the story go where you want. So those fun ones, I loved talking those fun stories.
I do as well. I love it when it goes somewhere you're not expecting.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think, in your opinion, is the biggest evolution in women's journalism today?
I think for me, it's someone like Lisa LaFlamme and replacing Lloyd Robertson as, the trusted voice of these networks. Adrienne Arsenault as well, becoming the host of The National. These women I admired so much. I still admire so much. I worked with them on the road. I saw how hard they work and how much they had to give up. They are moving the dial in a massive way. Now it's not, before them, the people that had those flagship newscasts were mostly men.
That's right.
And the thing that's different, though, I would say, for women than men, and men might be like, oh, you're going to drive me crazy. But I talked to some CEOs in the C-suite, and because I'm new to the business side on this side, and I love talking to these women. There are very few women in C-suite, which are the top ranks and running the businesses in country. And I said, what is it that helped you get there? And I don't want to say who it was because I don't know if she wants me telling the story. But she said, you know what? We always hear all the time. So this is what has to change for C-suite. I'd say in the media, it started to change with these women who worked extremely hard. They gave up a lot to get where they were. In the C-suite, there are still very few women there in Canada. And the numbers, I could look them up, but they're not very good. So I said, how do you get there? She goes, you hear this all the time, 50-50. You got to have 50-50 partnership. And she said, I'm very lucky because my husband gives me 90%, 75 to 90%. She goes, I don't do a lot of stuff at home. And if I didn't have that, she goes, I would not be here today. So she says it's more than 50-50.
Right.
And I thought that's fascinating because my husband, he does everything at home right now. I'm like, sorry, I gotta go. I'm going to stay in a beautiful hotel. Here are the animals. Here's the house. Here's my rent. And she's absolutely right. So when she said that, I'm like, you're right. It has to be for women a lot of the time who have, kids, and it's probably like that for others as well. But this is just an example for women who, strive to be there. You have to have a very strong partner if you have a partner, but if not, you have to do a lot on your own. Lot.
What inspires you outside of your career?
What inspires so many things? My family, my husband, which I'm very lucky to have a very, very strong partner. I drive him absolutely crazy. He's the total opposite of me. He'll kill me if he knows that I'm talking about him. He's an accountant. He's very shy and quiet. Clearly, I'm not that way, but it's something that really works. I really love to enjoy my time when I'm not at work. I love to garden. I don't know if you can see in the background
I
my
can.
gardens. I love to garden. I love to golf. I love to spend time with my friends. In my friend group, I have a very large acquaintance group. My friend group is very small because I've been burned quite a few times.
I love that you said that because I quite
Why?
often say that myself.
Yeah, I
Like,
have a very large acquaintance
yeah, people will often say, "Oh my gosh, you have so many friends." And I always say, "No, I don't.
group.
I have a
Yeah,
very small friendship group that I love and trust, and I have a large acquaintance group."
my family is really important to me, even though I haven't seen a lot of them. But like you, and I think we were talking about this before, when I go home to Yarmouth, it's hard to get me out of there.
Yeah.
Hard to get me out of there. Like last time I was there, I'm driving around with my mother. It's like I could buy this house and I could Airbnb it. Remember, my husband's an accountant. He's like, come on, Hannah, stop it. But it's hard to get me out of there because I really enjoy those moments of sitting around. We eat a ton. The door is constantly swinging. There's no phone calls ahead of time. It's just like, come on, let's have a
Yep.
cup of coffee. By 4 o'clock, we're cracking a bottle of wine and then we're playing cards and we're watching the ball game. Those are the things that truly matter in life.
Definitely.
And I think one of my other big things for me personally is making people feel like their stories matter. In my job, in my life, I love to talk a lot, clearly, but I also love to listen. I love to listen and hear what people have to say. It's important to make people feel they're important. So if you see someone walking down the street and you think they look nice, say it.
Yeah.
I do all the time. I think that's probably why I came up to you that day. You were a shining light and you have a very cool look to you. It's like, I have to go figure out who this fella is. And so I did. And look what happened, right? Nothing
Exactly.
bad can happen from being kind to somebody.
Exactly. We were the life of the party.
We so were. We so were.
What's next for Hannah?
What's next for Hannah? Hannah is always, again, I'm going to bring my husband into this. She's always dreaming big. He feels like a lot of the time it might be a lot on my head
Yeah.
because it's always thinking forward. I have so many ideas that I'd love to try. Like one of the big things I see issues with the mass media today. How can we fix that and bring more trusted voices to Canadians? And maybe it's, I'm going to give it away. If someone can create this, go ahead. But it's like, why are we relying on American companies like YouTube, like Facebook, like TikTok? Well, TikTok's not American, but all of these other companies to get our messages out. Why don't we have an overall Canadian platform where it's like you have to be approved to put your information out there so that people can go to this landing page or something? It's like, oh, there's Hannah doing a video about something that happened in Ottawa. She spoke to this person. I'm going to trust that because she's a trusted
Yeah.
voice to me. So I don't know. That's just one thing I'm thinking about, but I'm also in the midst, and I hate saying this because then I have to commit to doing it. I'm also in the midst of writing a book.
Wow.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm very busy. I've got 3 chapters written and I kind of stalled there, but we'll see.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
We talked about music being a huge part of who you are in the newsrooms. Just tell me, what's one song that you would play every time you would enter a newsroom if you could have a theme song for the day?
You're going to laugh at this one.
I love that you already know what it is.
So I'm driving home from the airport late the other night, and my favorite band of all time is The Police, and Sting is my ultimate favorite. And the song "So Lonely" came on. Do you know that song?
I do.
So maybe you can play it for people, so they know it. I was singing it so loud.
I can see that. I can see it in my head.
Yes. But I recorded myself by mistake. And I was like trying fiddling. And then you can see from down here, I'm singing it really, really loud. I showed it to my husband. I'm like, okay, now that's getting deleted.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. So that one, because I love to belt it. It's not the lyrics or anything. It's just, I love The Police. I love Sting. And it's such a catchy song. It's a very old song.
Amazing. I might have to play it in the
Sally.
intro of this episode.
Or I really like that song, Sally.
But yeah, oh, I can see you liking that song actually.
Oh yeah, and how he brings up, have you seen on, well, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, he brings someone else up on stage every time. You
Yes,
could get, if you can get me on stage for that, oh,
you
that
would
would
be
be
amazing.
amazing.
You would be amazing.
I've got dance moves.
Do you have a bucket list?
No, no, I don't. I have things that I really want to do. Like I want to travel more with my husband. I get a lot of travel alone. So
Sure.
I go to all these beautiful places like London, for example. However, I met you and Nancy there, so we had a lot of fun. I always meet people, but I'd like to travel more with him. I went to Paris with him last year and we had a wonderful time. So do more of that. I love to go to ball games.
Yeah.
So we were going to go, this was before everything happened with the Trump administration. We were going to go down, see some training camp, golf, but we just decided that we weren't going to travel at that point in time to the US. A lot of travel with my husband. I'd like to do a bit of that. I
Nice.
love my animals too, though. What else on my bucket list? I mentioned a couple of things, but yeah, I don't really have one. I want to get home more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do I. I'm home at the moment and I'm like, oh, I'm going home in like 48 hours home to London.
I'm
So
so jealous you're there.
I know I was like, oh,
Wouldn't
I
have
wish
been fun
Hannah
if,
was here.
I know. Wouldn't have been fun if we were both there. We will at some point do
Definitely.
that. And then we could
Definitely.
do like a walk and talk around
I would love it.
Yarmouth and Wedgeport. Did you do
Exactly.
anything on the tuna festival?
The main interview with myself and Nancy was in the Tuna Museum.
Bam.
And
Bam on.
we went out to the Tuscan Islands on a boat. We did so many. We just had a great time.
Okay, next time I want you guys to do that with me.
Yeah.
Because I've never done the Tuscan Islands. Not
No.
kidding. Not kidding.
My gosh.
Bad Yarmouthian. Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
Okay. Okay. Let me know
Shock.
next time.
Breaking news.
Do you have a dream guest to interview, dead or alive? Is there somebody that you had wished or you wished to interview?
Yeah, and I'm not giving up hope on it. Barack Obama.
Wow, that would be a great interview.
Wouldn't it? But you know what? I really want an interview where he'd answer all my questions honestly.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I know
Yeah.
because on train people not to tell certain stories, blah, blah, blah. But if he would answer and just have like that cool discussion. I remember he did one with, gosh, now I'm trying to think of his name. Remember he traveled the globe. He's passed away now, and did food. Anthony Bourdain.
All right.
He did an interview with Anthony Bourdain, and that would be the same kind of style I would want. Don't you love going to a restaurant? I think that would be where I'd want to do an interview with my big guest I could ever get, is sit in a restaurant, have a cool meal, eat, talk, because then it becomes more flowing, right?
It so does. I've done that with a London foodie. And so we went into a restaurant and we just had a glass of wine and we had some great food and we talked about it. And we just talked about how her life has changed and how people trust her advice for finding restaurants in London.
I love it. I love it. But you know what? And I know this might be very controversial. I would love to talk to Donald Trump.
Would you?
I would love to try to understand a bit. I don't know if there is any understanding, to be honest, but just to understand why. It doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
And if I could try to make sense out of it, that's it.
Yeah.
I know people are going, why would you even want to talk to him? Blah, blah, blah. I just don't get it. I don't get what is making him tick and make these decisions that I find are not rational.
Yeah.
But so that, and then,
that would be an interesting conversation.
can you imagine? Might get a bit spicy.
You'd need a bottle of wine.
And I'd be wearing my Canada pin.
Exactly, which is gorgeous.
Thank you. I wear this on Canada Day, but I thought it would be good on your show too.
It is. Love it.
I love it. Thanks.
I think,
so, yeah, that's just off the top of my head. My gosh, I would have a list so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here kind of the squirrels running on the wheel in my head, who else it would be. I haven't had an interview with Prime Minister Carney yet, which I hope will happen sometime. I did do the Liberal leadership debate, but that was asking questions of all of the leaders, and it was a different time. He has a lot of pressure on him right now.
I know.
And when, I don't know if you watch his reaction when he's sitting in the Oval Office with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is saying things that are at points inappropriate, and how he reacts I think it's the right way to react.
I think so as well.
Yeah, but to be put in that position and the camera's on you, they're watching every move. And actually, when President Trump is talking, I'm watching Prime Minister Carney and his reaction. Like yesterday, I'm not going to date this. When he was sitting in the Oval Office, my eyes were focused on Mr. Carney and how he reacted. And he just kind of sits there. He doesn't nod. He has this thing he does he'll bring his tongue over to his cheek.
Yep.
And he made a couple of winks to, I think, some of the reporters in the Oval Office with him. So it's fascinating to watch the body language and kind of draw out of that.
I love watching that stuff.
Right? Yeah, it's more like you're listening to what he's saying, but how is that person reacting? And I feel that under those two times and that immense pressure that he had, I have to give Prime Minister Carney a lot of kudos for that and sitting in that Oval Office with him. Because the first time, imagine what happened with the Ukrainian president, Zelensky. And we're all saying, it's like, is this going to happen with our prime minister? And it didn't.
Exactly.
But you never know what's going to happen in that. And all the gold trim that they put in that office. Yeah. These are the things going through my head when I watch it.
I love it. I like to just roll into some quick fire questions.
Okay.
How good are you at this? I have a feeling you're going to be amazing.
Suck. Okay. I'm ready. Okay.
What's your go-to breaking news snack?
Coffee. Is that a snack?
Yeah, why not?
Ask anybody. I always have a cup of coffee in my hand. I think you may have noticed throughout the interview.
This is a great question, and I think I know the answer, but we'll see. Which politician would you least want to be stuck in an elevator with?
None. I'd love to be stuck in an elevator with any of them. I'll grill them.
Yeah, exactly. We could reverse that question.
Is that what you thought I was going to answer?
I thought you were going to say none, because I can imagine you being like, this is the perfect opportunity.
Absolutely. It's like, give me your elevator pitch. 12 seconds. Go.
I love it. What's your guilty pleasure TV show after a long day in politics?
You really want me to tell you this?
It's going to be like Desperate Housewives.
It's The Real Housewives. You know which ones I'm loving the best right now are the London ones.
I've never watched the London one.
Shame on you, Kevjet.
I've never watched it.
You know what Trevor says to me? He's like, what are you watching? I'm like, The Real Housewives. He goes, how many brain cells have died? Yeah.
But it's great. It's great.
Mind mush, I call it.
It is.
It's a total shutdown.
For me, it's like Married at First Sight, Australia.
Which one?
Australia, Married at First Sight.
See, I watched one episode or one season of that, and I just couldn't get into season 2. I'll try again.
Australia, you have to watch.
Okay, I'm in.
If Parliament had a theme song, what would it be?
That's a good question. Is there a song about a bunch of children? I'm trying to think of, or something like, all I think of is them in question period. Is there a song about I'm acting like a bunch of school kids? And actually, school kids behave way better.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Okay, I got to think of that a bit more.
Yeah, because you're good with music.
I know, but you know what I'm bad with? Names of songs.
I'm like that. And if there's a song playing, I can never think of another name.
Right? Hold on, I'm going on my Spotify list. Maybe there has to be a Arkell's song.
Well, there has to be.
The Reckoning? I'm playing that now. There's going to be a reckoning. Let's give ourselves the credit on this one.
Definitely.
Can you hear us?
A little bit. I could play any song right now and you're dancing to it.
They played that in London, right?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure it's probably one of the ones I have a video of you dancing to.
Probably. Okay, let's pick reckoning. There's going to be a reckoning.
Perfect. What's the most Canadian thing you've ever said on TV?
It was something like I don't know why I was explaining it, but I had to park my car in the garage.
I love that you remember that as well.
Because everybody laughed at me. There was another one. This one makes me laugh too. I had a sportscaster and we were talking about soccer and they traded off. I'm like, yeah, they needed fresh legs. And he's like, what are you talking about? Fresh legs. And I'm like, that's what you say in soccer, don't you? Is that a Canadian saying? No clue. And then the whole thing, they made fun of me for weeks on that. Fresh legs.
Hilarious.
Yes, I get picked on a lot.
If journalism had a dating app, what would your bio say?
Oh my gosh, how do you think of these questions? What would my say? Okay, so here's the thing. I'll tell you a little story. I met my husband on a dating app and I was a journalist at the time, but I did not put my picture up.
Oh.
I know. That shows what a good guy he is. He had a lot of faith. So what did I have? It's like Parliament. Is it if Parliament Hill had a dating app? Or?
Yeah, if Parliament Hill had a dating app.
Parliament Hill had a dating app. What would mine be? Stay away from me. I want all your information.
Who's more dramatic, politicians or TV producers?
Politicians. Definitely. TV producers are the sane ones, I think. It's the people on camera that are the kooky ones. So if you said politicians and on-air personalities, it's a toss-up.
It is.
It's a toss-up. Yeah.
Producers have to keep them on track.
That's it. You know what? I'm constantly dropping my mittens and my winter hat and my notebook. And I've had some fabulous people take care of me.
I love it. Thank you, Hannah. I loved our conversation.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And I'll see you somewhere, someday, in some city.
In some city, hopefully in Nova Scotia, but if not, London soon.
Would be amazing.